Okay, shalom to the hopeful elect. Let's give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rachah, Kodash, and double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Again, peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, starting with the 144,000. In this lesson, we're going to go into an old bottle that's taken on the spirit of Esau, Edom, and his philosophies as far as the rapture doctrine, which we all know is to be some bullshit. Right, his interpretation, his understanding to have social media to push a false narrative. All right, we're going to listen to what this guy got to say. But actually, before he even get into it, I want to go here. Yep. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, starting at verse 4. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through the Most High Yahweh, to the pulling down of strongholds. All right, casting down imaginations and everything that exalteth itself against the knowledge of the Most High, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. All right, the word of the Heavenly Father, bringing everything to the obedience of the word of Yahweh, which is Yahweh Shai's only begotten Son. He spoke life to these words. These words are life. Yahweh Shai is life, who the world ignorantly called Jesus, or Jesus Christ. He is the anointed. He is life, the bread, the water, the water, right? The essence of life. And the thing with these false doctrines, they bring death. Let me get a precept on that. Proverbs chapter 8, verse 36. But he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. All they that hate me love death. And this is speaking of Yahweh Shai. This is wisdom. Okay. I'm gonna go here. Because we know that King Solomon, who wrote the Proverbs, who wrote, Ecclesiastes and Ecclesiasticus, and these books of wisdom, he asked the Lord for wisdom. That what he asked the Lord for, not riches, not women, but wisdom to do what? To guide his nation, the nation of Israel, the Lord's chosen people. Right? I'm gonna go with verse 33. It says, "Hear instruction and be wise, and refuse it not. Blessed is the man that heareth me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the post of my doors. For whoso findeth me findeth life, and shall obtain favor of the Lord. But he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. All they that hate me love death." All right? The knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, this heavenly bread. You can't survive on bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Most High, Yahweh Shai. Okay? Like I said, I want to go back to the Corinthians. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through the Most High, to the pulling down of strongholds. All right. Catholicism, plantation Christianity, celebrating pagan holidays, the rapture doctrine. That's a stronghold. The rapture doctrine that people are going to be saved before the tribulation. People are going to be caught up in the clouds. What's in the clouds? They haven't been able to break that down to you. They didn't tell you that the clouds equate to the UFOs or the chariots of the Heavenly Father. They haven't told you these things, right? They just caught up in the clouds. How? Was Yahweh Shai just caught up in the cloud? Is that how he's coming back in a cloud? But what about the horn? As written in Habakkuk chapter 2, it's going to be coming out of his hands. And we're going to get that in 2nd Ezra chapter 13. When he looked on the multitude. Because that doctrine of what do they call it? The rapture doctrine is spoken of in 2nd Ezra chapter 13. You know, about being left behind. So we're going to get it. We're going to get it. Again, verse 5. Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of the Most High. And bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Yahweh Shai. Which is pure knowledge, 100%. No I think, no I thought, no leaning on your own understanding, but precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. With all that getting, get understanding when it comes to reading these scriptures. All right, so let's get this old bottle, see what he got to say, and we'll go from there. The title is Rapture. People queuing up in a bank disappear. Others are left behind by Dr. N. Amandi. Okay, so I don't know, who this doctor is, but we know that Esau Edom is a physician of no value, and he's giving these guys, that go to the seminary schools and they take these Christian courses, to so-called educate people on the Bible. We know that they're physicians of no value, and that doctor means Salaki. I forget, what it means. Damn, if I could just remember it. If anybody remember what doctor means, y'all could put it in the comment board for me. But doctor, and that's what all these guys prescribe themselves to be, because they go to school, they get their doctorate, they get a piece of paper that tell them, okay, you're educated, to teach what we want you to teach. So now we're gonna call you a doctor. All right. So you can spew this madness. This came out 2 days ago. He got 208 views, so that's cool. 208 people that might well, they didn't thumb this up necessarily. Only 2 people thumbed it up, but that's a lot of views for somebody that's spitting madness. Omega Television Network. He got, wow, that's a beautiful number. 414 subscribers. 144. But anyway, let's go to see what this old bottle got to say.
Yes, I want you to imagine one of the scenarios that will happen on the day of the rapture.
The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
People are queuing up in the bank. They'll be queuing up, waiting for their turn to be served. And something will happen. My name is Dr. Zeribe Makamati, and I urge you to kindly subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell, and also like this video. Help us to attain 1,000 subscribers, because it will help us to produce more videos. We make these videos for your happiness, not just in this life, but also in the life to come. Happiness is very important, but now and in the life to come. One lady did say, all that matters to me, all I want is to be happy. Yeah, going back to this very situation.
The Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
One of the situations that's going to happen on the day of the rapture is, I want you to know that.
And see, that's another thing. People just want to be happy. But what's the cost for that happiness? How do you? What's your form of happiness? If you're being wicked, Is that your form of happiness? People think being wicked is happy. People think, you see, especially nowadays, men committing adultery, they get happy. They get off on that. Sleeping with somebody else's wife, that's wicked. That's nasty. That's detestable. Right? That's full of ignorance. But that makes a lot of ignorant ass men happy. Right? Women doing the same thing, vice versa, to their husbands. It's wicked. But it makes them happy. Right? Certain people, take drugs and things of this nature. It makes them happy. What's your form of happiness? See, now the elect is focused on righteousness. It's focused on what thus says Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. The 100% truth, not a lie. Going back to keeping the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of our ability. Rehearsing the righteous acts. Offending less. The laws are not done away with. Okay? Contrary to belief, to popular belief, I'll say. The laws are not done away with. There's not a scripture in the Bible that tells us that we don't have to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Those have been the more strongholds that in these last days and time is going to be taken down through the word of Yahweh Shema Shah being properly taught by his men. Starting with the elders and apostles of the great millstone. Let me let this guy keep on talking, and we'll cut in.
Because of the movement of the sun, in some part of the world, right now, even as I speak, some people are asleep. And in some part of the world, even as I speak right now, because right now in the UK, it's just a few minutes to 12 o'clock, which is 11 something a.m. But in some part of the world, it's probably 6 p.m. So some part of the world is nearly midnight. So when the rapture is going to happen, there's going to be different scenarios in different places. But I want you to imagine this scenario. People are in the bank queuing up to get money. And then something happens. The rapture happens. Over half of the bankers, the officers that work in the bank disappear. And over half of those standing disappear. The others are left behind. Now, when I say disappear...
Matter of fact, I want to hear what you... Yeah, go ahead, say it.
This is disappearance in a positive sense because those who disappear, they meet Jesus Christ in the air. On the day of the rapture, Jesus is going to appear. I say, when the trumpet of God sounds, Jesus is going to appear in the clouds. And all believers from different cities, different villages.
Hold on, let's take it step by step.
Of the world, even as I speak right now, because right now in the UK, it's just a few minutes to 12 o'clock.
All right, he's starting this narrative, this particular story that he's going into. People queuing up in the bank disappear. It's all about money with these people, like he just said from the beginning, right? From the beginning of his statement or his introduction, he was saying, hit the like button, subscribe, all these things to make the ministry go forward, to pretty much financially help his ministry or whatever he got going through Omega TV television network, right? Now he's saying that there's going to be a scenario where there's going to be people queuing up in a bank. Now, if you've been following the true leaders of the Hebrew Israelites, their teachings, their understandings based on prophecy, right? For this doctrine has been preached out through the world for years, nearly centuries, if not centuries, of a rapture, right? Where there's going to be a time where people are going to be in airplanes, in banks, driving cars, and all of a sudden they're just going to disappear. That's never happened. In humankind, that's never happened. But those are the type of doctrines that go along with the doctrine of, Mary being a virgin, and her getting pregnant by an angel, even though angels don't have sex type shit, these fairy tales, these fables, these strong, you know, these strongholds, you know. And we're here to, through the word of Yahweh Shemel Shai, break that shit down. Start first and foremost with what he's about to go into as far as the banks, right? We know in the end, according to Revelation 13 and 16, right, that there's going to be there's coming a time, a digital age that didn't exist 40, 50 years ago, as prominent as it is right now in these days and time. 50 years ago, 67 years ago, in the 1950s, 1940s, 50s, and 60s, the technology, the digital age was not as prominent as it is right now. Right? That digital age goes into the charagma, right? A plantable device that's going to be that's going to be used as a way of keeping track, keeping record, and in a sense controlling the lifestyles of everyone on this earth that take that MARK, known as the charagma, better known as the RFID CHIP. All right, this is the beast system's way of controlling the world. That's going to be headed by the evil, wicked elite of the nations right now, Esau, Edom. You know, and what comes with that is you're not going to have a bank to go to. You're not going to have a bank to be reside to go to and pull money out, right? They're preparing a way to shut all that down as we speak right now. You know, it's going to be a time where you're not going to be able to go and pull money off your card, or go to an ATM, or go inside of a bank teller, or go inside of a bank and talk to a bank teller. I mean, you see them doing it right now over the telephone, through your telephone, because everybody got a telephone now. If you got a job, you got a telephone. Your paycheck go to your card go to your card or to your bank, whatever bank is set up. There's no walking into a bank and asking a teller, "Hey, I need this amount of money." You know, unless you already got the MARK. You know, they might have banks set up for those that take the MARK in them 15-minute cities. But it's not going to be a regular digger as he's seen it. You know, these guys, they have no vision. They think about shit that happened years ago. They're still living in the past. Right? I'm sure this story that he's telling is something he heard. I think I heard it a long time ago. This rapture, people flying the airplanes, and the airplane's going to be crashing because people just going to get raptured up. Nah, more than likely when your house shot get back with the chariots, that's how people going to be disappearing when the Lord let go his fire. Just like in that movie War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise, and that them laser beams be popping people while they in their cars and driving and shit like that. That's how that's how the airplane's gonna be falling out the sky then, which is going into the second Ezra chapter 13. And Habakkuk chapter what's that, 3? We're gonna get it, Lord willing. Well, let me continue to let this guy talk about. But his whole thought, his thought process of putting this in like a one day you're gonna be doing something and then people gonna be disappearing around you is false. Bullshit. To be raptured up in the clouds. Let's get it.
Which is 11 something a.m. But in some part of the world it's probably 6 p.m. So some part of the world is nearly midnight. So when the rapture is going to happen, there's going to be different scenarios in different places. But I want you to imagine this scenario. People are in the bank queuing up to get money. And then something happens. The rapture happens. Over half of the bankers, the officers that work in the bank disappear. and over half of those standing disappear. The others are left behind. Now, when I say disappear, this is disappearance in a positive sense, because those who disappear, they meet Jesus Christ in the air. You know, on the day of the rapture, Jesus is going to appear. I say, when the trumpet of God sounds, Jesus is going to appear in the clouds. And all believers from different cities, different villages, different nations are going to meet him in the air. And all of
Hold on. You missing a big part of what's about to happen when Yahweh shall return. Who y'all ignorantly call Jesus and people meet him in the air. Let's get it. Let's go here. Second Esdras. Chapter 13, thank you. And we're going to start at verse 1. Let's start there. All right. Caught up in the air. And it came to pass, verse 1. And it came to pass, after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night. This is Esdras. Having a prophecy, pretty much, a vision of what's going to happen in the future here on earth. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. That man is speaking about Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly called Jesus. Waxing strong with the thousands of heaven. Right, the angels, the thousands of heaven, the chariots. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. All right, because this is going to be a dark-skinned man in like an angelic form in all his glory. He's gonna be tall, man. The men of Israel their stature is gonna be taller than the men that you see right now. It's gonna be perfect. Perfect. Right now, through the ages, we've gotten weaker. And I could just say from knowing my father and from the 40s, 50s, and 60s, the men that was right back then, they were more rough, more strong, more determined. They had more of a manly character about themselves. And I'm not talking about just because, you know, they worked out and they were more in shape. Or, you know, like nowadays you got all these niggas that go to the gym or whatever and they eat all these health bars and bullshit. But I bet you they can't compare to the men that were here from the 30s, the 40s, and the 50s. They can't compare as far as mental fortitude and stability. The men nowadays are weak as fuck. And the generations under us, believe me, they 10 times more as weak. And they need carnal means, which are the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. They need carnal means to make them feel like a man. All right? But the Lord coming back, waxing strong with thousands of heaven, with the thousands of heaven. Speaking of, also with Michael, the archangel. Okay? This is what this is going into. This is not a time where the Lord just grabbing up everybody and rapturing. You're going to be caught up in it. You're missing the big picture. You're missing a big part of this prophecy. Dude, doctor, whoever your name is. Right? As a matter of fact, let's go to Habakkuk. Let's get to Habakkuk. I'm going to pull it up in the BLB and we jump back and forth. Hey, to the elect of Israel, the Lord's waking you up to the truth. Don't let these guys, pray that you are, pray that the Lord bring you into the truth. You know, evidently everything hasn't popped off yet, but we're in those times. We're in those times. God's deliverance of his people, right? What he called the rapture, right? This is the Most High's deliverance of his people. All right, not only Esdras, but Habakkuk had a vision of it too. Different timings, different places, but the same vision. All right. I'm going to start at verse 1. A prayer of Habakkuk, the prophet, upon Shaganoth. O Lord, I have heard thy speech and was afraid. O Lord, revive thy work in the midst of the years. In the midst of the years, make known. In wrath, remember mercy. That's how bad it's about to be. And everybody's going to see it, except you be dead. And if you be dead, you paying for your punishment. You're going to come back into the kingdom with a heavy heart, a heavy mind, a heavy conscience. All right? You weren't of the elect. All right? Unless you die as a martyr. You know, and those are the ones that's going to die trying to telling people the truth. Hey, don't take the MARK. Don't take the Revelation 13:16. Don't take it. You know, and they're not going to take it. They're going to easily say, hey, just chop my head off. The Lord going to put in their spirits to remember Yahweh Shah, his sufferings, to remember Stephen, his sufferings, all the disciples, you know, the mother with her 7 sons that boldly stood for the name of Yahweh Shah and said, fuck this world and fuck the king of this world. We got a better promise. The Lord said he got an expected end for us. And, you know, he said he has thoughts of happiness toward us. Lord, wouldn't we be a part of the elect? You know, in wrath, remember mercy. That's how bad it's going to be. Your loved ones, your family members, your neighbors, all those that's been wronging and been talking against the Lord, disrespecting him, not hearkening to his messages. The Lord said, I'm going to laugh at your calamity. All those that haven't, you know, repented, that talk down about his word, man, it's going to be horrible. Teeth of wild beasts, famine, the sword, people losing limbs, eyeballs, and then the fire from the chariots and the nuclear bombs, the nuclear missiles, the intercontinental ballistic missiles, the fire and brimstone coming out of those things, your tongue and your eyes melting away in their holes, and your soul sitting up there taking it all until your body's completely consumed. Verse 3. The Most High came to Teman and the holy mountain, and the Holy One from Mount Paran. Selah, his glory covered the heavens, and the earth was full of his praise. And his brightness was as the light, and he had horns coming out of his hands, and there was the hiding of his power. Now, okay. Verse 3 again. The Most High came from Teman, and the Holy One from Mount Paran. Selah, his glory covered the heavens, and the earth was full of his praise. And his brightness was as the light, and he had horns coming out of his hand, and there was the hiding of his power. Those horns coming out of his hands is symbolizing a ray of fire coming out of the chariots, destroying the wicked inhabitants of the earth. Starting with the military of all the heathen nations. Yes, they're gonna come up and fight. Let's go back to 2nd Esdras, chapter 13. The same vision, different time, and described in a different way, right? Verse 2, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with thousands of heaven, as we just read in Habakkuk, right, chapter 3, you know, about how the Most High came, you know, and then, you know, he came with his light, you know, in his glory. It's also written of in 2nd Thessalonians, chapter 2. He gonna come with the brightness, in his brightness. All right, we're not gonna get it right now. I'm gonna keep it simple. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. So he's gonna be on top of the top, coming from the sea, right? The sea meaning the sky, the outer parts of the heavens, of the earth. They say you move like you move under the water, in the sea, in the ocean, or in the pool of water. They say the same thing happened when you in outer space. How they move, how the astronauts move all slow when they inside those rockets or capsules or whatever. It's like a sea. That's how the Lord gonna come back through the heavens in a cloud, a UFO, which is called a chariot, right? Verse 4. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the fire felleth when it filleth as the earth felleth when it filleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men, out of number, from the four winds of the heaven, to subdue that man that came out of the sea. Now who was these? Who was these? Now you have the spiritual eyes to see. We're going to go to Revelation. What's that? I'm going to write it. I'm going to pull it up like this. Revelation. The devil and his angels fought. Beautiful. I'm going to keep it simple. Revelation chapter 12 and 7. And there was war in heaven. See, this is another stronghold that Christianity put on our people, is to believe that the spiritual demon Satan, Satan is the one that's fighting against the angels and Michael and his angels and the Lord. No, this is talking about a physical battle that's going to happen here on earth. Esau, Edom, the deceiver, is also known as the devil. He deceived his nation, deceived the whole world. If you read, go back to read the whole chapter of Revelation chapter 12. It tell you when he came out of the bottomless pit, he deceived the whole world into believing that our biblical inheritance didn't mean anything. Because he sold his own inheritance, right? He sold his own birthright. He gave up his own birthright, so he mixed up everybody's birthright and started calling people. He put a veil over the eyes of the inhabitants of the earth, all nations, calling Ammon, which is biblically calling people that's biblically known as Ammon and Moab, calling them Japanese and Chinese. Right, naming after the name of the lands that they've given people to name. Right, Africa, calling the children of Ham Africans. But there's four different not generations, but four different sons of Ham, and they all have a different lineage. The same thing with the 12 tribes of Israel. And our names have been turned into proverbs and bywords. Niggas and spicks, wetbacks, all these disrespectful terms they call us. Naming us, having us naming ourselves after the countries we went and we were led into captivity at. Mexicans and Colombians, right? Argentinians and Seminole Indians. West Indians or Jamaicans and Haitians. Dominicans and Panamanians, Puerto Ricans and Negroes or African Americans or black. It's time to wake up. And if you're a child of Israel, if you're a child of the elect, we don't sleep like they that sleep in the night. The Lord has woken us up so they won't be taken like a thief in the night. Lord, wouldn't we be a part of that elect number to be called up? After the destruction of this place, like we was going into, what's that? In Habakkuk chapter 3, the the Lord, let's get it. Matter of fact, before I go there, let me complete this. Revelation 12 and 7. Because right, what we just read in 2nd Ezra chapter 13, the Lord had turned, and the whole earth was afraid, right? And there were numbers of the other nations coming up against the Lord. You know, they were getting ready to have battle with the Lord, right? If you go to the Daniel chapter 12, it tell you that Yahweh Shai and Michael, the archangel, was getting ready prepared after the time of Jacob's trouble, you know, to go to war. And this is an account right here in Revelation 12 and 7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. This is talking about the so-called white man, the higher-ups, the ones that's controlling the banking industry, the ones that's controlling the resources and everything on earth right now today. This is their heaven. But their place will no longer be found in heaven. They're about to be brought low. Heaven is a condition, like hell is a condition. Where in heaven you have the best of the best. You're on your people revere you as kings. People revere you as the most knowledgeable, the most understandable. You know, you can do no wrong. That's a piece of heaven, you know. And that's what the Lord is about to restore to his elect. To bring a new heaven and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness, you know, starting with Yahweh Shai. The kingdom of heaven, the true kingdom of heaven. And what happened when you raptured up, right? He said you're going to rapture up in the clouds. We're going to get that too, Lord willing. Right? But I just want to use that part. I'm going to go here to back to 2nd Ezra. No. Look. Yeah, I'm done with Habakkuk. I'm going to go back to 2nd Ezra and 13. Because when Michael come up on the scene, matter of fact, I should get Daniel chapter. Let me go there first. Let me get Daniel chapter 12. Daniel chapter 12. All right. This goes with Revelation chapter 12. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. Okay? It's talking about the elect of Israel being saved. The deliverance, like we just read in Habakkuk chapter 3. The deliverance of the children of Israel comes with Yahweh Shai coming back to seek revenge for what they did to him, for touching the apple of the Lord's eyes, for lying, for bloodshed. You know, for the bloodshed that Esau Edom has committed upon the whole earth through his lies, debauchery, you know, through his laws, through his draconian measures. He's got to pay for all of that. And rightfully so. All right. With that, excuse me for being all over the place, but we're going to go back to the 2nd Ezra 13 again. All right. And I'm going to read verse 3 again. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. Talking about Yahweh Shai and his angels, you know, Michael, the archangel. And whensoever the voice came out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, as the earth filleth when it filleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number, for the four winds of the heaven, from the four winds of the heaven, and to subdue the man that came out of the sea. What the Lord say about that? Let's get that. My determination is to gather the nations. Zephaniah 3:8. Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, right? The devil and his angels. Esau, Edom, the UN, NATO, together the nations, right? Because they the big balls of the world right now. Together the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, right? Yeah, even Russia gonna be there. Russia, China, all the kingdoms, all the heathen kingdoms are gonna come up, the nations. Assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. Because you touched the apple of the Lord's eyes. You touched this woman, the children of Israel. Right? Jealousy. Is not Yahweh Shah a jealous power? Do we got to get that scripture for you too? He a jealous power, and you touch his people. You touch what was near and dear unto him. Yeah, we went off. Yeah, we messed up. But y'all took it overboard. Y'all didn't just sleep with us as a nation. Y'all just didn't cause take us, as fornication. Y'all abused us. Y'all put us on drugs. Y'all whipped us. Y'all murdered us. Over and over again, captivity after captivity. But this being the worst time, the worst captivity y'all did for us, and y'all think the Lord gonna take that light? Well, nah, he's not gonna take it light. Back to second Esdras. Verse 5. After this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men. Well, we just read that right in Zephaniah 3. Yahweh Bashmiel Shah said he's going to gather the nations to Yahweh Shaphat, the valley of decisions. And there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. So they're going to fight against Yahweh Shah. But I beheld, and lo, he had graven himself a great mountain and flew upon it. That mountain is actually a UFO, a chariot of the Lord. And that's how big it's going to be called. That's how big it's going to look. It's actually called the fathership, not a mothership, but the fathership, right? But I would have seen the region or place where out the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they that were gathered together to subdue him were so afraid, and yet durst fight. Yeah, the Lord put the Spirit on them to fight. It's a dreadful thing to fall into the hands of the Most High. Who can resist his will? And that's the will. He said, I'm going to gather the nations. As we just read in Zephaniah chapter 3. For his righteous indignation. To destroy them. To destroy them. To be an example of destruction for the bringing of his new kingdom. How do you show a block? How do you show a block or a city that you about to take over, that you about to rule? Whoever's in rulership at that time, whoever got the block under control at that time, they get met with brutal force. A brutal force. And now you got a new gang that's running the block. All right? Well, and that's on a low level. On the higher level, Yahweh Shah come in the same fashion. Come in the same fashion. The rulers of this world about to have a rude awakening. And that goes into the salvation of the children of Israel. And it's not called the rapture. And it's not all nations of all tongues. like he was going into. Matter of fact, let's get back to this guy. See what he got to say again. No. Before I go there, get a point so I don't have to come back to 2nd Edge 13, all right? Unless I have to, right? Verse 9. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. See, now this is Yahweh Shah looking at these people coming with their violence. They're gonna be shooting bombs. They're gonna be shooting little pellets, you know, from the machine guns or the airplanes. That's the violence they're gonna be coming with. And Lord gonna be looking at these people, you know, while he got a shield or whatever, blocking, blocking their little missiles or whatever coming, their little bombs coming, exploding. Like he's seeing the violence of them coming at him. The Lord gonna put the spirit on them to do it. Then your boy, was that Trump? And during his first term said something about we're gonna have to no. I think it was somebody else. It was Ronald Reagan or somebody back in the day that said that we're gonna have to come together and fight against the forces that come at us. Was it Washington? Well, not Washington. Bush. I gotta look it up, man. Matter of fact, let me see if I can do it right now. Shit, while you playing. No. Bush. Okay, what? I'm sorry, y'all. It's gonna be a long. What president mentioned outer space invaders? It was Reagan, huh? Yeah, it was Reagan. Yeah. Let me see what they say here. I should just go to AI. Let me go to the AI. AI pretty much probably have it. The president who most notably mentioned outer space invaders and the potential for a threat from outside the world to unite humanity was Ronald Reagan. Reagan made this statement in a 1987 speech before the United Nations, right? These are the nations that the Lord going to bring together. Come on. He going to put a spirit in them. They're going to be afraid and still fight and durst fight. Reagan made this statement in a 1987 speech before the United Nations, which most of the people, not most, but a lot of you people on the earth, y'all wasn't even born in. Y'all wasn't even born in. Y'all in y'all 20 something years old, probably 30 something years old, 40. You said some of y'all probably in y'all 40s. No. I say 30 something, 30, 25 to 30. Y'all wasn't even born yet. Right? This is what was happening before y'all even gave breath. Before the United Nations, perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bond. All right. I occasionally think how quick our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. He also made similar remarks during a question and answer session in Chicago, saying he often wondered what would happen if Earth were invaded by a power from outer space. These comments reflected Reagan's interest in extraterrestrial life and its possible impact on global security. Why? This is in 1987. Let me see if I can pull this other thing up. Not KJB Slocky. The White House invaded by outer space invaders. No. Video. Don't play. I know y'all got that damn video, you bastards. 2 seconds. 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 2 seconds White House surrounded, I'll say. Not invaded, because it wasn't naturally invaded. White House surrounded. Surrounded. What year was that? In, I'm gonna say the 50s. Was it the 50s? In the 50s. Okay. They playing with me. The White House surrounded by outer space. By I'll just say UFOs. 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 Video. $52. Right? Let's go here. Let's see what it say. Start. Continue. When UFOs buzzed the White House and the Air Force blamed the weather, when a slew of saucer-like sightings was reported over Washington, D.C. in 1952, right, the Air Force blocked its own investigator from checking them out. "1952 was the year America caught flying saucer fever. So when a rash of strange sightings was reported in the skies over Washington, D.C. that summer, the press and the public demanded answers. Were these unexplained radar blips, crafts, and that some cases outran jets, part of a nuclear-armed Soviet invasion, a very real threat at the height of the Red Scare, or were they evidence of something far more mysterious? All right. The Washington, D.C. sightings of July 1952, also known as the Big Flap, hold a special place in the history of unidentified flying objects, UFOs. Major American newspapers were reporting multiple credible sightings by civilian and military radar operators and pilots, so many that the Special Intelligence Unit of the U.S. Air Force was sent in to investigate. What they found or didn't find, along with the Air Force official explanation, fueled some of the earliest conspiracy theories about a government plot to hide evidence of alien life. So the Lord ain't been the Lord ain't, the Lord has shown his face. The eyes of the Lord is upon the sinful kingdom. Them cherish him, his angels is his eyes. They've been watching this sinful kingdom for a long, long time. So this guy right here, where he going off, with his, spewing that vomit, the the plantation Christianity doctrine, the vomit, Catholicism vomit of a rapture, it holds no weight. And why hasn't he brung out a scripture yet? Ask yourself that. Why has he not brought up out of scripture yet? He's just regurgitating the same bullshit that he's been programmed to speak, which is lies. Right? Strongholds.
us are going to meet. In fact, the Bible says that those who have died in Christ will be the first to meet Jesus in the air. And then the rest of us who are alive will be changed and meet him in the air. So the disappearance is, they disappear and they meet Jesus Christ in the air. You see, but those who did not disappear are left behind. So this is why you must pray that.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Why is Yahushua coming back in a chariot, in a cloud, in a UFO? We just heard, part of it. Zephaniah, 2nd Ezra chapter 13, Habakkuk chapter 3. He's about to bring a reckoning. But why a chariot? Why is he going to come back in a chariot? Let's go here. One of my best explanations in Acts chapter 1. The New Testament, right? The New Testament, Acts chapter 1. We're going to go down here. The ascension. This is Yahushua going back into the heavens. The ascension, right? Let me see if I can. Proverbs. Ascension, right? Yeah. Proverbs chapter 30, verse 4. Who have ascended up into heaven and descended? Who have gathered the wind in his fist? Who have bound the waters in a garment? Who have established all the ends of the earth? Who is his name, and what is his son's name, if thou canst tell? Because it ain't Jesus. The letter J didn't come around to 1524. It ain't Jehovah. Those are not their real names. They spoke in Hebrew, ancient Paleo-Hebrew. They didn't speak in Greek. They didn't speak in Latin or Spanish or English. So you're going to have to know their names. I just had to bring that up right now because they was talking about ascension, the ascension. Let's get it. The ascension, right? Verse 9. When he had spoken these words or these things, while they beheld, he was taken up. Who was he? Who was this he? It's Yahushua. Yahushua was taken up. What? And a cloud received him out of their sight. All right. So why y'all telling, why y'all mixing fables with the truth? Why y'all not breaking it down? Why y'all can't bring out the scriptures? Because the Holy Spirit ain't working with y'all. This is why he coming back in a cloud, in a chariot, in a so-called UFO. It's identified to his elect, or Lord willing, to us. We know what it is. Right, and a cloud received him out of their sight. This is after Yahushua was crucified and came back to life. Right. This is when he came out the tomb. They were looking for him, they couldn't find him. Then Mary, and some certain other women, and then Peter, and who was it? It was a couple of other disciples had raced to see the tomb, and they let Peter go in first because he was the head. Right. This is after that. And he got caught up in the cloud. What is going to happen to his elect? Upon what? Upon the destruction of Babylon the Great. Because this is where most of the destruction is going to take place at here in America. This is where it's going to take place at. As soon as those nuclear bombs start falling, that's when the elect of Israel are going to be caught up in the clouds, which they call the rapture. So they had this lie going out there talking about how they're going to be raptured up before the Great Tribulation. That's bullshit. I mean, the Great Tribulation, Jacob's trouble, is a part of that tribulation. We won't get into the kingdom, but through much tribulation. Much tribulation, Jacob's trouble. The judgment the Lord about to bring upon the earth. Famine, the sword, pestilence, and then the nuclear bomb, the nuclear weapons, the nuclear missiles. All right? And at the same time, when them nuclear missiles are being dropped, when that big earthquake happened over here in America, at the same time, that's when the elect is going to be raptured up. With a slakia for calling it rapture. You know what I mean? I'm just thinking about this deception of the rapture. You know, that's when they go. Well, you can, if that's what you want to call it, being beamed up, right? But ain't no. You're going to see the destruction. It's not going. You're not going to be, as they put it. You're going. What's it? How did doctrine go? The people going to be a certain number of people going to be raptured up for the 7 years of tribulation or something like that. So what are you going to be, just sitting up in the sky? So while all this hell is going on earth, y'all want to be raptured up into the sky? Matter of fact, I want to go back to what this guy got to say, but I want to make it clear. Let's get it. Verse 9 again. And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. And while they looked steadfast toward heaven as he went up, behold, 2 men stood by them in white apparel. Those were angels, right? Which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Yahushua, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. So as y'all seen, as they seen him go into the chariot, into the cloud, into a so-called UFO, in the heavens, it's the same way he coming back. In a so-called UFO, in a cloud, in a chariot of Yahweh Shema Shai with the thousands of heaven, including Michael the archangel, to recompense, to give a recompense to all those that thought they got away with slaying him and touching the apple of the Most High's eyes, putting his people, putting so much brutality on his people. Those that thought they got away with their sins. 2/3 of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians that's not repentative, that don't want to believe the Lord for who He is. What's His name? If thou can tell. Nah, your minds are so seared with a hot iron. You gonna keep on calling on Jesus? The same name your master gave you, right? Because the Lord said you can't serve 2 masters. Either you serving Yahweh Shem Yahushua, or you serving somebody else. Whether it's Buddha, whether it's Allah, whether it's Jesus, Serapis Christi, the Egyptians, the so-called white man, Esau Edom, or any of those other heathen nations and their gods. You either serving them or you're serving the power of the Bible, whose name is Yahweh, and his only begotten son's name is Yahweh Shah. There's no in between. It ain't no in between. And your fruit is gonna show who you believe in. No, it ain't over. Let me go back to this video. It ain't over. It ain't over.
Pray that you be among those who will be left behind, because after the rapture of the church, a great, difficult time is going to come upon everyone on planet Earth. A period known as the Great Tribulation will begin. And it's going to be intense, so much intense suffering. You see, Jesus talked about these periods.
Let's speak about that. The water Yahweh Shema Shai. No, we ain't done with 2nd Ezra chapter 13. We are not done with 2nd Ezra chapter 13. Let's get it. Left behind. Whew. 2nd Ezra chapter 13. Left behind. I missed that part. I missed that part. I want to jump down to the left behind part though. But yeah, this is the part when the Lord, man, all the this go back to Zephaniah 3, when the Lord gathered all the nations to receive his indignation, his judgment, you know. But y'all can read that for yourself. Y'all can read how the Lord gonna come out from 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 9 to verse 12. Verse 12. Right. It was so bad, verse 13, Ezra was sick. It was so bad. Verse 13, he say, and there came much people unto him, whereof some were glad, some were sorry, and some of them were bound, and other some brought of them that were offered. Then was I sick through great fear, and I awaked and said, Thou hast showed thy servant these wonders from the beginning, and hast counted me worthy that thou shouldst receive my prayer. All right. Now these are the ones going back into what was that, Daniel chapter 12, verse 13. It goes back into James chapter 12, where it says, where some were glad. Those that's being brought, that's going to have the faith. That's the elect that's going to come into the kingdom. That's going to have everlasting life. All right, from the beginning of the kingdom being restored. And then you got some were sorry. Those are the ones who will come back with in everlasting contempt, which means for a moment, for a period of time, they're going to have that sorrow in their heart that they didn't believe, that they were still rebellious after hearing this gospel being spread into the four corners of the earth. They still rebellious. They still unbelieving and unfaithful. They still trusting in oppression. They're gonna come back in the kingdom with sorrowful, and some were bound. Some of them were bound. The other heathen nations, y'all gonna be bound up, going into captivity. And others, some brought of them that were offered. Right. But I'm gonna jump down here to verse 20. Cause I'm gonna start at verse 16 as a matter of fact. It says, Ezra said, For as I conceive in mine understanding, woe unto them that shall be left behind in those days, and much more woe unto them that are not left behind. Ooh. Why? Because those that be left, those that don't be left behind, those are the ones that the Lord has judgment on, which is the heathens and 2/3 of Israel here in America. 2/3 of Israel, rebellious Israelites, Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, West Indians, Haitians, and the rest of the speckled bird. 2/3 of y'all that haven't repented, that the Lord didn't put the Spirit on to repent, to learn his name, to offend less. Though that's aimed toward y'all. This is going to be taken out. You're not going to be left behind. Much more woe unto you. You're not going to see the kingdom coming. So all that rapture where you be gone for 7 days to tribulation that he's talking about right now, nah, the elect is going to see the tribulation. Go to Psalms. Let me see. We're going to go there. We're going to go there in a minute. Verse 17, though. For they that were not left were in heaviness. Now understand I the things that are laid up in the latter days, which shall happen unto them and to those that are left behind. Therefore are they come into great perils and many necessities, like as these dreams declare. Yet it is easier for him that is in danger to come into these things than to pass away as a cloud out of the world and not to see the things that happen in the last days. And he answered unto me and said, The interpretation of the vision shall I show thee, and I will open unto thee the thing that thou hast required. Whereas, matter of fact, let me go here first. Okay, it says, verse 20, Yet it is easier for him that is in danger to come into these things than to pass away as a cloud out of the world, and not to see the things that happen in the last days. And he answered to me and said, but that take me. Okay, so why do you have about I gotta hurry up because I know It's been a long time. This is about to be damn near an hour. It is an hour. I don't want to go past 30 minutes, hour and 30 minutes. Let's go to this Psalms. Let's get this Psalms, chapter 91. Psalms 91. All right, we're going to jump down to verse 8. Matter of fact, I'm going to start at verse 1. Psalm chapter 91, verse 1. Security of the one who trusts in the Lord, okay? This is the security. This is the salvation of the ones that trust in the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshua during this perilous time. All right, verse 1. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Most High. The name of the Lord is a strong tower, right? He that runneth into it is safe, right? Starting with the name of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Who can tell it? All right? Verse 2. I will say of the Lord Yahweh, he is my refuge and my fortress, my power, in him will I trust. Because when all hell is breaking loose, you're not going to be able to call on those fake gods. They're not going to hear you. They're not going to hear you. They're not going to hear you. The only reason why the Lord helped you through certain situations, because he heard you crying in the name of Jesus, because he understood our ignorance. He winked at our ignorance, but now he commands all men to repent. And that means repenting from those fake gods, Jesus and Buddha and Allah. The only reason why he winked at you, because we were ignorant. But now, we have no cloak for our sins. The truth is coming out. Whether you forbear it, whether you hear it or you forbear it, that's going to equate to your ending. Whether it be a reward or whether it be, punishment. Right? Verse 3. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler, which is Esau Edom, and his traps, his snare, his trying to get you to take that MOTB. Right? And from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler, right? This knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is going to be the stability of your time, thy time. All right? Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. All right? So that's when them arrows start coming in. The missiles start popping off. Them ICBM missiles, yeah, start dropping. Then we're going to see the reward of the wicked. The other heathen nations and 2/3 of Israel. Right? Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked, because thou hast made the Lord Yahweh, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. All right? And that's going to be the salvation of the elect of Israel. In that horrible time, when the missiles start dropping down, they're going to be the ones raptured. I keep on saying raptured, but you know what I mean, caught up in the clouds. So-called raptured, if you want to say it like that, quote unquote. But that's after they see the destruction. It's not nobody going to just shoom, and they're not going to see what's happening on the earth and make it into the kingdom on the first go around. Nah. Second Ezra, let's go there. It tells us. Second Ezra, chapter 13 again. Verse 20. Yet it is easier for him that is in danger, right? All the danger we see going on around us as we just witnessed in Psalms 91. The pestilence, the arrow that fly by day, and all that. The Lord's going to preserve his elect. He's going to bring us through the fire of all those things, Lord willing, if we be a part of that number. Right? Yet it is easier for him that is in danger to come into these things than to pass away as a cloud out of the world, and not to see the things that happen in the last days. And he answered unto me and said, the interpretation of the vision shall I show thee, and I will open unto thee the thing that thou hast required. Whereas thou hast spoken of them that are left behind, this is the interpretation. He that shall endure the peril in that time hath kept himself. They that be fallen in danger, as such as have works and faith toward the Almighty. See, you have to have works and faith. It ain't just you believe, but you don't do nothing to show the Lord that you believe. Right? And that's what Christianity, that's what plantation Christianity tell you. That's what all these so-called religious groups tell y'all. That all you gotta do is have faith. Now, how do you show your faith? By your works. That's how you show your faith. By your works. This brings me to, I want to get this. Let's go to chapter 9. Chapter 9. Second Ezra chapter 9. And it tells us around here, right? Let's go here. Oh, beautiful. I'm going to start here at verse 6. Even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonder and powerful works, and endings and effects and signs. And everyone that shall be saved shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby ye have believed. All right? Your works is going to show your faith. For all these Christians out here, all these wannabe Christians, these anti-Christians that say the only thing you got to do is call on the name, and, no matter what, you don't got to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. They're done away with. You can do what you want to do, and the Lord's still going to select you. He's still going to call you. You still, what makes you different from a killer? What makes you different from a bati boy? What makes you different from a bati girl? What makes you different from what makes you different from those that sin willfully? I'll say like that. Nothing. We're not perfect. We're going to go off, but we're supposed to be repentative and sorry every time we go off. That was King David's thing, a man after the Lord's own heart. He couldn't keep, no matter how great of a man the Lord looked at him, he was not perfect. He went off, but he begged the Lord for forgiveness, and he knew who his Lord was. And when he was Peter, he was right there up under him, following him, listening, doing what Yahweh told him to do, being faithful even until death. Let me finish off. Let's say verse 8. No, I'm going to do verse 7 again. Everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby ye have believed shall be preserved from the said perils that we just read in Psalm chapter 91 and in 2 Ezra chapter 13. Shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders. For I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. All right. What about those that's going to be coming in the kingdom with their head down, feeling sorry, and everlasting contempt? Verse 9. Then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. For such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me, and they that have loathed my law while they yet had liberty, and when as yet a place of repentance was open unto them, understood not, but despised it. Right? The 2/3 of Israel. They looked at, the men on the highways and hedges talking shit, calling us out our names, saying, we ain't those men, so on and so forth, whatever they mock about, and constantly trying to defend plantation Christianity. instead of just looking at the big picture. It's trying to defend Esau, Edom. They're not trying to worry. They're not worried about the other heathen nations out here, or their own people. They're not even worried about their own people. All right, but this is the point. Verse 12: the same must know it. Salakia. Verse 12: the same must know it after death by pain. And that pain is going to be that everlasting contempt, that sorrow that we read in 2nd Ezra chapter 13. That sorrow, man. That's how they're going to learn it. What was what's this? Yeah, that's that Psalms. Let me go back to that 13. 2nd Ezra chapter 13. And I was at 20. Yeah. Verse 23. He that endureth the peril in that time have kept himself. They that be fallen into danger are such as have works and faith toward the Almighty. Know this therefore, that they which be left behind are more blessed than they that be dead. Okay? This is the meaning of the vision, whereas thou sawest a man coming up from the midst of the sea, right? Going back to Yahweh Shah, coming out of the midst of the sea, and flew upon that mountain, the chariot, seeking to destroy the heathen nations, their army, the devil and his angels, Esau, Edom and his, the nations and their fighter jets and the helicopters and their nuclear missiles being thrown out, being propelled out of their silos, so on and so forth. Right? The same is he whom the Most High, whom God the Most High have kept a great season, which by his own self shall deliver his creature, and shall order them that are left behind. Right? The Lord going to order his elect that are left behind. Right? Preserving them. The 144,000 to receive those crowns, and the rest of the elect to receive salvation. And whereas thou sawest that out of his mouth there came as a blast of wind and fire and storm, and that he held neither sword nor any instrument of war, but that the rushing in of him destroyed the whole multitude that came to subdue him. This is the interpretation. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth, and he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. All right. So the realm, the kingdom of well, how to say, Esau, Edom is the end of this world, but Jacob is the beginning of the world that followeth. That's gonna be the battle. And it started where? In Rebekah's womb. And that's the end of it. And Jacob grabbing the hill of Esau, Edom was a foreshadowing of how this world gonna be taken down, one right after the other. So it's not no other nation gonna come in, be in control. The Moab, Ammon, they not about to get in control. None of the sons of Ham about to get in control. None of the sons of Ishmael about to get in control. No, Esau, Edom, this is it. This is it. I guess I'm gonna close out on that, man. I mean, I can keep on going, man. Matter of fact, I want to get this one precept. Let me hear what you guys say before I get this last precept, but then we're gonna close out on that.
Talked about this period. He said this time of trouble will be so bad and it will be totally unprecedented. That is, It could never have happened, never. There will be none like it in the whole of the history of mankind, or in the whole of human experience. It will not have happened. So it's going to be a very difficult time for everyone on this planet Earth. You see, I've taken some time and I've researched this period of time. The suffering is going to be very difficult. Very, very difficult. There'll be too much food scarcity. And it's a period of time when there'll be a lot of dying taking place. I was really aware of what was happening during the time of coronavirus. In totality, I think coronavirus lasted between 2 and 3 years in different parts of the world. And during that period of time, over 5 million people died. But during this time of tribulation, it won't just be 5 million. It's going to be hundreds of millions of people who are going to lose their lives. I'm not saying this to scare anybody. It's just that this is biblical prophecy. You see, so it's important that we are among those who will be raptured, who will disappear, meet Jesus Christ in the air. So if you want to be among those who will disappear, or who will meet Jesus in the air, because you see, even those who die in Christ are going to meet Jesus in the air. The most amazing thing, the best thing in the whole world is to meet Jesus Christ in the air, because he's going to take us into heaven. Because the prophet said, when I come, I'll take you to be with me. You see, in my Father's house there are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. So to be among those that Jesus Christ will be taking, pray this prayer with me. Lord Jesus.
Nope. We're going to cut you off right there, buddy, before you go too far. Hey, that's another thing. What's heaven? Where is heaven going to be? We just heard that the devil going to be taken out of heaven, right? The devil he's no longer going to be, his heaven's no longer going to be here. Esau, Edom, the accuser of the brethren, the deceiver, he's no longer going to have a heaven on earth. Those are going to be caught up into the clouds and changed, by Yahweh Shai. They're going to be known as New Jerusalem. They're going to come down. And that's going to be the kingdom of heaven, beginning to reign over the earth again, which is what? The cosmos, the world of Israel, the orderly arrangement, starting with Yahweh Shai. A new heaven and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. Let me get that. Then I'm going to close out. Matter of fact, before then, I said I want to go here. To prove that we're going to have to go through something, we have to go through the trials and tribulations. Through much tribulation shall they enter into the kingdom of heaven. Matthew chapter 24. And I'm going to start at verse... Yeah, because this all has to happen right here too. This has got to happen here. I'm going to start at verse 4. And Yahweh answered and said unto them, why? Right, let me see what they say first. Verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? All right? And the Lord is going to detail these things. What's going to be with him coming. Right? It's not like he's going to be popping up out of nowhere and everybody going to get raptured up. When he comes, there's going to be a lot of destruction going on. Jacob's trouble is going to be popping off. The rapture is not going to come. Y'all get raptured up, and then the tribulation come, and everybody go through the hell, and then and this person and that person are going to get beamed up, and the banks, whatever the bush he was talking about, man. People going to disappear out of the banks and all this. Nah, everybody going to get their judgment, whether it be good or whether it be bad, whatever they do in their body. Right? They say, coming to him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Yahweh answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, like what this guy is doing right now. doctor, whatever his name is. How many shall come in? For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. Instead of saying that he's the Yahushua, the anointed, or Yahushua or Mashiach, because Christ is just another way of saying the anointed. All right? In the ancient Paleo Hebrew, it's pronounced Hamashiach. All right? And shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, and see see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And the elect know that. The elect understand these words, as we just read in 2 Ezra chapter 13. Yeah, we just read in Psalm chapter 91. The Lord is going to preserve his elect. Verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences, and earthquakes in divers places. All these things are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. That happened during the time of the disciples. But there's nothing new under the sun. Because the same thing the disciples was preaching back then that the world hated them for, the world of Esau, Edom hated them for, is the same thing that certain men are right now doing. Breaking down the strongholds of these liars and their minions. And they don't like it because they can no longer deceive the world. The light, the truth that's being brought out is waking up the elect, and Esau Edom know once the elect is woken up, there's nothing he can do. Pursuing the Ezekiel chapter 9, once the elect receive that mark of exemption, known as a Dawah, it's over with. It's over with. His kingdom is going to be literally shattered. Literally shattered. Okay, and many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. Hold on, no. I was at verse 9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Don't nobody hate nobody out here in this world calling themselves Jesus, because Jesus loves everybody. That's not the truth. The truth is the Lord is coming back for his elect, and they're only of the children of Israel. And Esau Edom has been exposed. That son of perdition has been exposed for his lies and his deception. And there's no going back. Now he's been exposed so bad, so much prophetically, as is written, a kingdom divided cannot stand. Trump and Elon Musk having difficulties, having a difference of opinion. On a small level, you got Tory Lane, got some kind of prosecutor, some female prosecutor want to let him out now, after he damn near died inside the prison and shit. She's trying to fight for him to come out. Just an example of the lies and the deception of this damn place. These fake ass women, these phony ass women. Who's that? Megan Thee Stallion. They want her homegirl to get in trouble, so they say. It's all alleged. But anyway, all the things that's done in the dark is being revealed. And that's going to be the downfall of this kingdom. All right, verse 11. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And this is the point. But he that shall endure unto the end, the perils, the fire, the flame. Are you gold or are you silver? Or are you wood? Okay. The same, verse 13 again, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. And then shall the end come. And it's being preached to all nations. Why? Because because all nations, because the children of Israel has been like the Lord said, He sent us into all nations as a punishment for our disobedience to serve these other nations. But amongst those nations, the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob by way of Israel has been spread to, some certain of those women in those nations. And the elect are very much well inside those nations as well. No matter where we've been scattered to. The Lord said He's going to draw out His elect. From wherever He scattered them. So it's not a color thing. It's not a nation thing. It's not a tongue thing. It's about if you're a child of Israel. If your bloodline go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the Lord predestined you from the beginning to be saved, not raptured, but delivered from the destruction on earth that's coming, then, call Halayin La Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. That's all I want to get, though. I probably want to hear what else he got to say. No, he ain't got nothing to say. He was praying and shit, so skirt, get him up out of here. With that, man, I hope this lesson is edifying. I went a little bit over 130. It's like 136 or something, but it's all right. Let's give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rachah Kodash. Double honors again to the elders and apostles of the great millstone, to the hopeful elect, endure, endure, endure. Yahweh, Yahushua, Ratazah, endure. All right, I hope this lesson is edifying. Till next time, Kwam Yasharallah, Wa Abba Babal.